Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything. You guys watch the video and feel it. Then let's evaluate together. The cardiac monitors steady beep, beep, beep drilled into Dr. Serena Hart's skull like a jackhammer as she bolted down the sterile corridors of Mercy General Hospital in Atlanta. It was April 2025, just past midnight, and the Georgia humidity clung to the air even inside, mixing with the sharp sting of antiseptic. Serena's white coat flapped behind her like a cape, her sneakers squeaking against the polished linoleum. She'd been on her feet for 18 hours straight, intubating a car crash victim, stabilizing a stroke patient, the works. Her dark hair was a messy bun, strands sticking to her sweat-damp neck, and her hazel eyes burned with exhaustion. She was this close to clocking out, dreaming of her Buckhead penthouse and a glass of Pinot Noir, when the call came through. Dr. Hart, ICU stat, VIP patient crashing. They're asking for the best intensivist we've got. The nurse's voice had crackled over the intercom, sharp and panicked. VIP or not, Serena didn't care. A life was a life. But damn, did her head ache under the flickering fluorescent lights. She pushed through it, years of grit kicking in. You didn't become a top doc, and a Hart Pharma heiress who ditched boardrooms for blood and bandages without learning to shove fatigue aside when the stakes were high. The ICU doors swung open, and chaos hit her like a freight train. Nurses darted around, shouting clipped orders. "Push another round of fluids! Where's the crash cart?" While the air buzzed with tension. Through the blur of white coats and tangled IV lines, Serena zeroed in on the man in the bed. He was still, too still, except for the shallow rise and fall of his chest. Tubes snaked from his arms, his nose, his mouth, tethering him to machines that screamed he was barely hanging on. His skin, a deep, rich brown, glistened with sweat under the harsh overhead lights, and his broad shoulders strained against the thin hospital gown. Serena's breath caught. She knew that face. Malik Jackson, the tech genius who'd clawed his way from Atlanta's roughest streets to the penthouse suites, CEO of Jackson Tech. She'd seen him on magazine covers, Forbes, Time, always with that sharp jawline and a smile that could charm a snake. But right now, he wasn't a titan. He was a man teetering on the edge, and the lines of pain etched across his brow told a story no headline ever could. "Talk to me," Serena snapped, shoving past a trembling resident to get to the monitors. Her voice was steady, cutting through the noise like a blade. "Malik Jackson, 38, collapsed at his office 3 hours ago," the resident stammered, clutching a chart. "Severe respiratory distress. BP's tanking. 80/40 last check. Suspected infection, maybe sepsis, but it hit fast. Too fast. O2 sats are at 88% and dropping." Serena's eyes flicked to the screens. Heart rate erratic, spiking at 140, then dipping to 90. Oxygen levels plummeting. Blood pressure a damn nightmare. This wasn't just an infection. This was a full-on system meltdown. She yanked on gloves, her mind racing through protocols like a computer spitting code. "Get me epinephrine, 0.1 milligrams now," she barked. "And crank the ventilator, tidal volume to 500, PEEP at 10. We're losing him." The team scrambled, hands shaking as they followed her lead. Serena leaned over Malik, her stethoscope cold against his chest. His lungs sounded like a drowned swamp, wet, crackling, barely moving air. She cursed under her breath. "Come on, man, don't do this to me." "BP's down to 70/30, a nurse yelled. "Damn it," Serena muttered. She climbed onto the bed, straddling Malik's hips without a second thought, her knees digging into the mattress, her hands slammed into his sternum, starting compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, each push a desperate plea. His chest was solid under her palms, muscles taut even in collapse, and she felt the faint heat of his skin through the gown. "Stay with me, Malik. You hear me?" Stay with me. The monitor flatlined. A piercing wail filled the room, and the air sucked out of Serena's lungs. No, 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 crash cart, now! She kept pumping, sweat beading on her forehead, her arms burning. A nurse shoved paddles into her hands, and she ripped Malik's gown open, exposing the hard planes of his chest. Dark hair curled there, damp with perspiration, and for a split second, she registered how alive he still felt under her touch. Charge to 200. Clear. The jolt rocked his body, but the line stayed flat. Again, 300. Another shock, another lifeless beep. Serena's throat tightened. She'd lost patients before, too many, but this one hit different. Maybe it was the headlines she'd read. The story of a black kid from the projects who'd built an empire. Maybe it was the way his face, even now, held a quiet defiance. She dropped the paddles, hands trembling, and leaned close. Her fingers brushed his chest, lingering on the fading warmth. His lips were parted, oxygen mask askew, and she could smell the faint musk of his cologne beneath the sterile hospital stench. "You're not done yet," she whispered, voice cracking. Not on my watch. Then, without thinking, maybe it was exhaustion, maybe it was some instinct she couldn't name, she bent down. Her hand slid to his jaw, tilting his face up, and she pressed her lips to his forehead. Slow, deliberate, a kiss that lingered longer than it should have. His skin was clammy, fever-hot, and her breath hitched as it grazed his temple. It wasn't clinical, it was raw, a goodbye she didn't want to admit. A spark shot through her, electric and unexplainable, and she pulled back, cheeks flaming. "Beep!" The monitor stuttered, then beep, beep. Malik's chest jerked, a ragged gasp tearing from his throat. Serena froze, eyes wide. The line spiked, heart rate 60, climbing. Oxygen creeping up to 92%. The resident gaped. "Holy, he's back! Get the vent stabilized," Serena snapped, jolting into action. She swung off the bed, legs shaky, and barked orders. More fluids, antibiotics, lab stat. Her hands moved on autopilot, but her mind spun. That kiss, what the hell was that? She glanced at Malik, his eyes still closed, chest rising stronger now. The room buzzed with relief, nurses high-fiving, but Serena's pulse hammered for a different reason. She stepped back, peeling off her gloves, and wiped her brow with a trembling hand. Malik Jackson was alive. Barely. And she'd just crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Her lips still tingled where they'd touched him, and she shoved the feeling down deep. "Focus, Serena. He's a patient, not a damn romance novel." The resident clapped her shoulder. "You're a miracle worker, Dr. Hart. Guy's a fighter, but you brought him back." "Yeah," she muttered, voice hoarse. "Let's hope he stays that way." She lingered by the door as the team stabilized him, watching the numbers climb. BP 90-50, O2 at 95%. Malik's face softened, the tension easing from his brow. He was out cold, but alive. Serena's gut twisted. She'd saved him, sure, but that kiss, it wasn't just adrenaline. It was something else, something dangerous. And as she slipped out into the quiet hallway, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, she couldn't shake the feeling that Malik Jackson was about to turn her world upside down. Her phone buzzed. Probably Darius, her best friend and fellow doc, checking in. She ignored it, leaning against the wall, the cool tile grounding her. She was Serena Hart. Millionaire, badass doctor, untouchable. But tonight, she'd felt something crack open inside her, and it scared the hell out of her. "Hey!" a nurse called, poking her head out. "You okay, Doc? Looked like you saw a ghost in there." Serena forced a smirk. Just another day saving lives. Keep an eye on him, all right? Will do. Get some rest. You earned it. Rest, right. She headed for the on-call room, her sneakers echoing in the empty hall. But as she walked, Malik's face flashed in her mind. Those sharp features, that stubborn spark, and that kiss. She'd meant it as a farewell, a last shot of humanity for a man she thought was gone. Now he was breathing, and she was the one who couldn't catch her breath. What did I just start? Hey, y'all. Think that kiss was just a fluke? Or did it spark something bigger? Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Let's figure out what's next for Serena and Malik together. The morning sun sliced through the blinds of Mercy General's ICU, casting golden streaks across Malik Jackson's hospital room. It had been 48 hours since Serena Hart yanked him back from the brink, and the sterile beep of the monitors had finally settled into a steady rhythm. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, her usual white coat swapped for a soft gray cashmere sweater that hugged her frame. Her shift was over. She should have been halfway to her penthouse by now, sipping coffee on her balcony overlooking Atlanta's skyline. But here she was, drawn back to room 312, like a moth to a flame. Malik was awake. Barely. His broad chest rose and fell under the thin blanket, and his deep brown eyes locked onto her the second she stepped inside. Even hooked up to IVs and oxygen, the man radiated something. Power, maybe, or just raw stubbornness. His voice came out rough, like gravel over velvet. "You're the one, huh? The doc who wouldn't let me check out?" Serena's lips twitched into a half-smile, but her pulse kicked up a notch. She brushed a stray lock of hair behind her ear, suddenly hyper-aware of how she looked. Rumpled, no makeup, still carrying the faint smell of hospital coffee on her breath. "Yeah, that's me. Dr. Serena Hart. You gave us a hell of a scare, Mr. Jackson." "Malik," he corrected, shifting against the pillows with a wince. "No Mr. Jackson stuff. Not after you climbed on top of me to keep my heart going." Her cheeks burned. She'd hoped he wouldn't remember that part, or at least not mention it. "Standard procedure," she lied, keeping her tone clipped. "You were crashing. I did what I had to." He studied her, those eyes narrowing like he could see right through her bullshit. "Standard, huh? I remember flashes, alarms, voices, and something warm, like someone was there holding on to me." He paused, voice dropping lower. "That you?" Serena's stomach flipped. The kiss. Did he feel it? She swallowed hard, forcing her face to stay neutral. "Fever dreams," she said, stepping closer to check his chart. Anything to avoid that gaze. "You were out of it. Sedation, low oxygen. The brain plays tricks." "Maybe," he murmured, unconvinced. His hand brushed the IV line taped to his arm, and he winced again. "But I owe you, Serena. Big time." She glanced up, caught off guard by how her name sounded in his mouth. Smooth, intimate, like they'd known each other longer than 2 damn days. "Just doing my job," she said, flipping through the chart. "You're stable now. BP's up to 110/70, O2 at 97%. You're a fighter." "Always have been," he said with a faint smirk, the kind that probably charmed boardrooms and broke hearts. "Gotta be, coming up where I did. West End ain't exactly a Silver Spoon neighborhood." She nodded, familiar with Atlanta's rougher edges. "Heard you built Jackson Tech from nothing. That takes guts." "And a little crazy," he added, chuckling, a low, warm sound that hit her harder than it should have. "Speaking of crazy, something's off about this. I wasn't sick a week ago. Then bam, chest on fire, can't breathe. Next thing I know, I'm here. Doesn't add up." Serena frowned, her doctor brain kicking in. Infections can hit fast. Pneumonia, sepsis, but yeah, this was weird. Too sudden. She tapped the chart, scanning the labs again. Something nagged at her, a detail she'd glossed over in the chaos. "Let me dig into this. We'll figure it out." "You don't have to," he started, but she cut him off with a look. "I'm not leaving a puzzle half solved, Malik. Rest up. I'll be back." She slipped out before he could argue, her sneakers squeaking down the hall. The hospital hummed around her, nurses chatting, a janitor mopping the floor, the faint wail of a siren outside. But her mind was on Malik. Not just his case. Him. That voice, that smirk, the way he'd said her name. "Get a grip, Serena. He's a patient." She headed for the cafeteria, needing caffeine and a minute to think. The place smelled like burnt toast and cheap coffee, a far cry from the gourmet espresso bars she could afford. She grabbed a cup, black and bitter, and slid into a corner booth. That's when she spotted Tanya Brooks, a night shift nurse she vaguely recognized, short, curvy, with tired eyes and a faded scrubs top. Tanya was hunched over a tray, picking at a stale muffin, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Serena hesitated, then walked over. "Tanya, right? Mind if I sit?" The nurse glanced up, startled, then nodded. "Sure, Dr. Hart. Long night?" "Long week," Serena said, sliding in. She kept her tone casual, but her eyes were sharp. "You were on when Malik Jackson came in, weren't you?" Tanya froze, her fingers tightening around the muffin. Yeah. Crazy night. Guy almost didn't make it." "Mm-hmm." Serena sipped her coffee, watching her. "Your initials are on his intake. TB. But I don't remember seeing you in the ICU during the crash." Tanya's face paled, and she dropped the muffin like it burned her. I was there earlier. Did the prelim stuff, then got swapped out." "Why?" Serena leaned in, voice low. "Because something's fishy. His labs show a dose of midazolam, sedative, heavy stuff that I didn't order. And it's got your initials on it." Tanya's eyes widened, panic flashing across her face. "I didn't do that. I swear, Dr. Hart, I'd never mess with meds like that. I got a kid at home. I can't lose this job." "Then who did?" Serena pressed, keeping her cool. "Someone used your name, Tanya. If you know anything, spill it, now." The nurse's hands shook, and she glanced around like the walls might be listening. "Okay, look. I didn't want to say nothing 'cause I'm scared. But that night, some suit came by. Tall guy, slick hair, real cold vibe. Asked about Jackson, said he was checking in. I thought he was family or something, but he lingered by the med cart when I stepped away." Serena's gut clenched. "A suit? You get a name?" "No, but he had a fancy pin. Gold, shaped like a K." Tanya's voice dropped to a whisper. "I didn't touch that midazolam, I swear. Someone's setting me up." Serena sat back, mind racing. A gold K pin. Victor Kane, Malik's CFO, flashed in her head. She'd seen him on TV once, all polished and predatory. Could he be behind this? She kept her face neutral, nodding at Tanya. "All right, keep this between us for now. I'll handle it." Tanya nodded, relief mixing with fear. "Thanks, Dr. Hart. I just want to keep my head down." "Smart move," Serena said, standing. "Take care of that kid of yours." She walked away, coffee forgotten, her pulse thudding in her ears. If Victor was involved, this wasn't just a medical glitch. It was sabotage. She needed to tell Malik. Now, back in room 312, Malik was sitting up, flipping through a magazine with forced nonchalance. He looked better, color returning to his face, the dark circles under his eyes fading. He glanced up as she entered, tossing the magazine aside. "You're back fast. Find something?" Serena shut the door, her voice low. "Yeah. Your sudden collapse might not be so sudden. Found a dose of midazolam in your system. No one ordered it. And a nurse says some guy in a suit was sniffing around your meds that night. Malik's jaw tightened, his easy charm replaced by a hard edge. Victor, that son of a bitch. He's been gunning for my spot since day one. Thinks a black kid from the hood doesn't belong at the top. Maybe he's not just gunning, Serena said, stepping closer. Maybe he's playing dirty. Their eyes locked, the air between them crackling. Malik reached out, his fingers brushing hers. Rough, warm, a spark that jolted her. You're sticking your neck out for me, he said, voice soft but intense. Why? She didn't pull away, her breath catching. Because I don't half-ass anything, Malik. Not my patience, not the truth. And I don't know. You're different. He smirked, but his eyes softened. Good different? Dangerous different, she shot back, a grin tugging at her lips. For a second they just stood there, hands touching, the room shrinking around them. Then Malik squeezed her fingers, letting go. We're in this together now, huh? Looks like it, she said, stepping back, her heart still racing. Let's figure out who's trying to bury you, and bury them first. As she left, the weight of it hit her. She wasn't just a doctor anymore. She was a partner in whatever storm was coming, and damn if it didn't feel electric. The clock on Mercy General's records room wall ticked past 1 a.m., its faint hum swallowed by the buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. Serena Hart crouched over a computer terminal, the blue glow casting shadows across her face. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, her hoodie, black, oversized, a far cry from her usual tailored cashmere, hood pulled up to hide her dark hair. She'd swapped her sneakers for boots, quieter on the linoleum, because tonight wasn't about being Dr. Hart, the millionaire doc. Tonight, she was a ghost digging for answers. The screen flickered as she pulled up Malik Jackson's file again, her hazel eyes narrowing at the bloodwork from the night he crashed. Something had bugged her since Tanya's shaky confession in the cafeteria, a hunch she couldn't shake. She scrolled through the labs. Elevated white count, sure, that tracked with infection, but then, there. Midazolam levels way too high and a trace of something else, something rare, vecuronium. A neuromuscular blocker, the kind used in surgery to paralyze muscles. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't a mistake. This was deliberate. Shit, she whispered, her breath fogging the screen. Vecuronium didn't just show up in a CEO's bloodstream by accident. Someone had dosed him, and it came from a stash only a few places could access. Like Hart Pharma, her family's empire. She printed the page, the machine whirring too loud in the silent room, and tucked it into her bag. Her mind raced. Victor Kane, that gold K-pin Tanya mentioned. Could he have gotten his hands on this? The door creaked behind her, and she spun, heart slamming against her ribs. Just a janitor rolling a mop bucket past, his headphones blasting trap music. She exhaled, slumping against the desk. Get it together, Serena. She logged out, grabbed her stuff, and slipped into the hall, the air thick with the smell of bleach and old paper. She needed to tell Malik. But first, she had to make sure this wasn't some wild goose chase that'd tank her career. Her phone buzzed as she hit the stairwell. Darius Reed, her best friend and the hospital's resident surgical hotshot. She answered, keeping her voice low. Hey, Dee. What's up? Where the hell are you? Darius's deep voice crackled through, laced with worry. I swung by the on-call room. Your coat's there, but you're not. It's past midnight, Serena. She hesitated, the stairs cold under her boots. I'm working on something. Patient stuff. Bullshit, he snapped. You're sneaking around, aren't you? For that Jackson guy? I saw you hovering by his room earlier. Don't lie to me. Serena winced. Darius knew her too well, had since med school when they'd bonded over late-night study sessions and cheap beer. He was tall, black, with a grin that could melt ice and a protective streak a mile wide. She sighed. Okay, fine. I'm digging into his case. Something's off, Darius. Meds that shouldn't be there. I think someone tried to take him out. A long pause. You're crazy, you know that? If you get caught poking around like this, the board'll revoke your license faster than you can say Hart Pharma. Come back. Let me help. I can't, she cut in, sharper than she meant. I'm not abandoning him, Dee. He almost died on my table. You don't get it. Another pause, heavier this time. I get it more than you think, he said, voice tight. Just be careful, all right? You're too damn stubborn for your own good. She softened. I know. Thanks, Darius. She hung up, guilt gnawing at her. Darius had her back, always did. But there was something in his tone lately. Jealousy, maybe? She shook it off, heading for Malik's room. The hospital was quieter now, the night shift a skeleton crew, but every shadow made her jump. When she slipped into room 312, Malik was awake, propped up against pillows, the TV flickering with some late-night news rerun. He looked better, less pale, the oxygen mask gone, but still fragile. He glanced over, a slow grin spreading across his face. Well, damn. You're back again. Starting to think you like me, Doc. She smirked, shutting the door. Don't flatter yourself. I've got news. She pulled the printout from her bag, handing it to him. Found this in your labs. Vecuronium. Paralyzes muscles. Explains why you couldn't breathe. And it's not on any order sheet. Malik's grin faded, his jaw clenching as he scanned the page. Victor, he growled. That bastard's been itching to shove me out. This is his move. Before she could respond, the door swung open hard, banging against the wall. Victor Kane strode in, tall, slicked-back blonde hair, suit crisp even at this hour. His cold blue eyes flicked from Malik to Serena, a sneer curling his lip. Well, isn't this cozy? The CEO and his savior Doc plotting in the dark. Serena stiffened, stepping between them. Visiting hours are over, Kane. Get out. Victor ignored her, locking onto Malik. You think you're untouchable, Jackson? Some street kid who lucked into a corner office? I came to check on my boss, but looks like you're already spinning conspiracies. Malik sat up straighter, wincing but holding his ground. Check on me? Or finish what you started? I know you, Victor. Always hated that I climbed higher than you ever will. Victor's sneer deepened, his voice dripping venom. You don't belong at the top. Never did. And if you're smart, you'll step down before the board hears how shaky you really are. Serena's blood boiled. Back off, she snapped, her tone icy. He's my patient, and you're stressing him out. Leave, or I'll call security. Victor's gaze slid to her, sharp and calculating. Oh, I know who you are, Dr. Hart. Hart Pharma princess playing hero. Careful. Mess with me, and your little empire might take a hit too. The threat hung heavy, but before she could fire back, footsteps echoed behind Victor. Darius stepped in, his broad frame filling the doorway, arms crossed. Problem here? His voice was calm, but his dark eyes burned, flicking between Serena and the two men. Victor smirked, stepping back. Not at all, Doctor. Just a friendly chat. He shot Malik one last look. Think about it, Jackson. Then stalked out, his polished shoes clicking down the hall. Darius turned to Serena, frustration etched on his face. What the hell, Serena? You're picking fights with suits now. He's trouble, she said, exhaling shakily, and he might have tried to kill Malik. Darius glanced at Malik, then back at her, his jaw tight. "You're in deep with this guy, huh? Deeper than you should be."
"Darius,"
she started, but he held up a hand. "I'm not blind," he said, voice low. "I see how you look at him. Just don't forget who's been here for you, all right?" He walked out, leaving a sting of guilt in his wake. Malik broke the silence, his tone softer. "Your friend's got a point. I'm dragging you into my mess." She turned to him, meeting his gaze. "I dragged myself in. I don't walk away from a fight. Or from you." He reached out, his hand brushing hers again, warm and steady. "Good to know," he said, a flicker of something. Gratitude, maybe more, lighting his eyes. She pulled back, forcing a smile. "Rest up. I'll keep digging." But as she left, the hospital's quiet hum felt ominous. She hit the parking lot. The Atlanta night thick with humidity, streetlights buzzing overhead. Her BMW was parked in the back under a flickering lamp. She unlocked it, sliding in, the leather cool against her skin. That's when she saw it, a shadow moving fast in her rearview mirror. Her breath caught. She turned, but nothing. Just the empty lot, the distant hum of traffic on I-85. Then, a glint of metal. A figure in a black hoodie stepped from behind a van, face hidden, something sharp in their hand. Panic surged. She slammed the key into the ignition, the engine roaring to life, and peeled out, tires screeching. The figure lunged, but she floored it, heart pounding as she swerved onto the road. By the time she hit Peachtree Street, her hands shook on the wheel. Someone knew she was digging. Victor, or worse. She glanced at the crumpled lab printout on the passenger seat. This wasn't just about Malik anymore. It was about her, too. And whoever was out there wasn't playing games. Serena Hart's BMW screeched to a stop in front of her Buckhead penthouse, the Atlanta skyline glittering through the floor-to-ceiling windows as she stumbled inside. Her hands still shook from the parking lot scare. The image of that hooded figure burned into her brain. She locked the door, triple-checking the deadbolt, and tossed her keys onto the marble counter. The place smelled like sandalwood and money. Dark wood floors, a sleek leather sofa, a bar cart stocked with top-shelf bourbon. Normally, it was her sanctuary, a million miles from Mercy General's chaos. Tonight, it felt like a cage. She poured a shot of Maker's Mark, the amber liquid sloshing as she downed it in one gulp. Her phone buzzed. Malik. She hesitated, then answered, her voice sharper than she meant. "Yeah? Serena, you okay?" His deep voice crackled through, rough with concern. "You sound off." She paced to the window, staring at the city lights. "Someone just tried to jump me in the parking lot. Black hoodie, knife, maybe Victor's guy. I got out, but—" She trailed off, the bourbon burning her throat. "Shit," Malik muttered. "Where are you?" "My place. Buckhead." A pause. "I'm coming over. You shouldn't be alone." "No way," she snapped. "You're still half dead, Malik. Stay put." "Too late," he cut in. "I'm in a cab. Be there in 10. She cursed under her breath as he hung up. Stubborn ass. But deep down, a flicker of relief warmed her chest. She glanced around. Her penthouse wasn't exactly patient-friendly. No hospital bed, no sterile trays, just her secrets, and a view that cost more than most people's houses. She kicked off her boots, the hardwood cool against her bare feet, and swapped her hoodie for a silk tank top. If he was coming, she'd at least look like she had her shit together. 10 minutes later, the intercom buzzed. She checked the camera. Malik, leaning on a cane, his broad frame filling the screen. She buzzed him up, and when the elevator dinged, he stepped out, still in hospital sweats, his dark eyes scanning her like he could see every crack in her armor. "Nice digs," he said, hobbling in, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. Hart Pharma pays good, huh? She rolled her eyes, shutting the door.
Don't get comfy. You shouldn't be here. You look like hell.
He eased onto the sofa, wincing as he stretched out his legs. Feel like it too. But I wasn't letting you deal with this solo. Not after that parking lot stunt. She grabbed a first aid kit from the kitchen, her hands moving on autopilot. Let me check you out. If you keel over on my couch, I'm not explaining that to the cops. She knelt beside him, tugging his shirt up. His chest was a map of muscle, the skin nicked with fading bruises from the crash cart paddles. Her fingers brushed his ribs, and he sucked in a breath. Not from pain, she realized, but from her touch. Careful, Doc, he murmured, voice low. You're gonna get me in trouble. Her cheeks flushed, but she kept going, taping a fresh bandage over a raw spot. You're already trouble. Hold still. His skin was warm, firm under her hands, and she caught a whiff of his scent, faint cologne, sweat, something primal that hit her harder than the bourbon. She finished, but didn't pull away, her fingers lingering on his chest. He caught her wrist, gentle but firm, his thumb grazing her pulse. Serena, he said, eyes locking with hers. Why are you doing this? Risking everything? She swallowed, her voice barely above a whisper. Because I kissed you when I thought you were gone.
I felt you slipping away, and I couldn't let go. Not then, not now. His grip tightened, and for a heartbeat, the room shrank to just them, the hum of the city outside, the thud of her pulse, the heat radiating off him. That kiss, he said, voice rough. I felt it. Even half dead, I felt you. She didn't think, just moved. Her lips crashed into his, hungry, desperate, like she'd been holding this in since that night in the ICU. He groaned, pulling her onto his lap, cane clattering to the floor. His hands slid up her back, strong despite his injuries, tangling in her hair as he deepened the kiss. She tasted bourbon on his tongue, felt the hard planes of his chest press against her, and every nerve lit up like a live wire. Malik, she gasped, breaking away, her hands framing his face. His stubble scratched her palms, his breath hot against her lips. Don't stop, he growled, tugging her closer. His fingers slipped under her tank top, tracing her spine, and she shivered, arching into him. The silk bunched up, then fell, pooling on the floor as he yanked it off. Her skin prickled in the cool air, but his hands were fire, roaming her waist, her hips, pulling her flush against him. She fumbled with his shirt, shoving it up, her nails grazing his abs as he kissed her neck, teeth scraping just enough to make her moan. They hit the sofa hard, a tangle of limbs and heat, the leather creaking under their weight. His sweats were gone next, her jeans following, a messy trail leading nowhere but here. She straddled him, his hands gripping her thighs, and for a moment they just stared, raw, unguarded, two people who danced with death and found this instead. Then she kissed him again, slower this time, savoring every second as the world melted away. A crash shattered the haze, glass exploding inward, the window behind them splintering. Serena yelped, rolling off Malik as a bullet whizzed past, embedding in the wall. Get down, he shouted, shoving her behind the sofa. Her heart hammered, adrenaline drowning the heat from moments ago. She peeked out, another shot, this one cracking the bar cart, bourbon spilling like blood across the floor. Malik grabbed his cane, pulling her toward the bedroom. Move, now! They stumbled through the door, her bare feet slipping on shards, his arm around her waist. She slammed it shut, locking it, her breath ragged. What the hell? Victor, he panted, leaning against the wall, or someone he hired. They know we're onto them. She grabbed her phone from the nightstand,
hand shaking as she dialed 911. "This is Dr. Serena Hart, 1450 Peachtree. Shots fired, active threat. Send help." She dropped it, turning to Malik. He was shirtless, bruised, but his eyes burned with that same fire she'd seen in the ICU.
"You okay?"
she asked, voice trembling. "Yeah," he said, pulling her close. "You?" She nodded, her bare skin pressed to his, the danger outside sharpening every touch. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, but in here, it was just them. Racing pulses, tangled breaths, a moment stolen from chaos. "We're not safe," she whispered. "No," he agreed, his lips brushing her forehead. "But we're together." The sirens hit the street below, red and blue lights flashing through the blinds. She grabbed a robe, tossing him a blanket, her mind spinning. Victor, or whoever, had escalated. This wasn't just about Malik's company anymore. It was personal, and they were targets. She glanced at the shattered window, glass glinting like teeth in the dark, and a chill ran through her. "Cops will be here soon," she said, tying the robe tight. "We need to figure this out. Fast." Malik nodded, wrapping the blanket around his shoulders. "Yeah, but first, we gotta live through tonight." She grabbed his hand, squeezing hard. "We will. I didn't pull you back from death to lose you now." He smirked, faint but real. "Good, 'cause I'm not going anywhere." They waited, the penthouse a war zone of broken glass and spilled bourbon, their clothes scattered like evidence of a life they'd almost lost. The cops banged on the door minutes later, shouting, "Atlanta PD, open up!" Serena let them in, her voice steady as she explained. Shots, unknown shooter, no injuries. They swept the place, found casings, promised a patrol, but she knew it wouldn't stop here. When they left, she sank onto the sofa, Malik beside her. The city hummed outside, oblivious. But in here, everything had changed. She looked at him, his sharp jaw, his steady gaze, and felt it, a bond forged in fire, deeper than she'd ever planned. "We're in deep," she said, voice soft. "Yeah," he replied, his hand finding hers. "But I'd rather be in deep with you than out there alone." She leaned into him, the weight of the night pressing down, but his warmth keeping her steady. They'd survived, barely. But whoever was out there wasn't done, and neither were they. The neon sign of the Motel 6 flickered outside the grimy window, casting a sickly green glow across the room where Serena Hart and Malik Jackson holed up. It was a far cry from her Buckhead penthouse, just off I-20 on the outskirts of Atlanta, the kind of place where the carpet smelled like stale cigarettes and the walls were stained with God knows what. Serena sat cross-legged on the sagging bed, her silk robe swapped for a thrift store hoodie and jeans she'd grabbed from a Walmart run after the cops cleared her place. Malik slumped in a rickety chair, his cane propped against the chipped formica table, a cheap blanket draped over his bare shoulders. The air buzzed with tension, thick as the Georgia humidity pressing in from the cracked window. They'd bolted after the penthouse shooting, too close, too damn real. Serena's hands still shook as she scrolled through her phone, the cracked screen lighting her face. Malik's eyes, dark and sharp, tracked her every move. "Anything?" he asked, voice rough from exhaustion. She shook her head, tossing the phone onto the bed. "Tanya's not picking up. I texted her an hour ago. Said we needed to meet, that it's urgent." "Nothing." Malik rubbed his jaw, stubble rasping under his fingers. "She's scared. Whoever's after us probably got to her too." Serena's stomach twisted. Tanya Brooks, the nurse whose initials were on that fake med order, had been their ace in the hole. After her shaky cafeteria confession,
Serena had hoped she'd spill more, maybe name Victor Kane outright. Now, silence. She grabbed a styrofoam cup of vending machine coffee, the bitter sludge barely warm. If she's out, we're screwed. Those labs are all we've got, and Victor's already spinning his story. Malik leaned forward, wincing as his ribs protested. He's good at that. Spinning. Called a press conference this morning. Saw it on the cab's TV before I got to your place. Said I cracked under pressure. Dosed myself with junk to dodge a board meeting. Bastards painting me as some burnout. Serena's grip tightened on the cup, denting it. That's bullshit. You were flatlining. Nobody does that to themselves. He's covering his ass. Yeah, well, he's got the board eating it up, Malik said, bitterness lacing his words. A black guy from West End running a tech empire. They've been waiting for me to crash and burn. Victor's just giving him the excuse. She met his gaze, anger flaring in her chest. They won't win. I've got money, connections. Hell, I've got Hart Pharma's whole damn database if I need it. We'll bury him. Malik's lips twitched, a ghost of a smile. You're something else, you know that? Most people had run the other way by now. She shrugged, setting the cup down. I don't run. Never have. She slid closer, her knee brushing his. And I'm not letting some slick suit take you down after I fought to keep you alive. He reached out, his hand warm on her thigh, sending a jolt through her. You're the only one who's ever fought for me like that, he said, voice low. Back in the day, it was just me and the streets. No safety net. Her fingers found his, lacing them together. You've got one now. For a moment, they just sat there, the motel's hum fading into the background. His touch grounded her, a tether in the storm. Then her phone buzzed, shattering the quiet. She snatched it up. Tanya. Finally, she muttered, answering. Tanya, where the hell? Dr. Hart? Tanya's voice trembled, barely audible over static. I can't talk long. He knows. That guy, the suit, he came to my place, threatened my kid if I said anything. Serena's blood ran cold. Victor Kane? I don't know his name, Tanya hissed. Tall, blonde, scary as hell. Said if I talked, my boy'd pay. I'm sorry, I can't. Tanya, listen, Serena cut in, firm but calm. We can protect you. Tell me where you are. I'll come get you. A shaky breath. Old Fourth Ward near the park. But you gotta hurry, he's watching. The line went dead. Serena cursed, jumping up. She's in trouble. Victor's onto her. We need to move. Malik grabbed his cane, hauling himself to his feet. I'm coming. No chance, she snapped, grabbing her keys. You're hurt. And you're not bulletproof, he shot back, stepping close. We're a team, Serena. I'm not sitting this out. She glared at him, but the fire in his eyes matched hers. Fine, she relented. But if you pass out, I'm leaving you on the curb. He smirked. Deal. They slipped out into the muggy night, the motel's gravel lot crunching underfoot. Her BMW was stashed a block away. She ditched it for a beat-up Toyota from a sketchy rental joint, less likely to draw eyes. They climbed in, the vinyl seats creaking, and she gunned it toward Old Fourth Ward, the city blurring past in streaks of neon and shadow. The park was quiet when they pulled up, just a few streetlights buzzing over empty benches. Serena scanned the shadows, her pulse thudding. She said near the park. Where is she? Malik pointed. There, by the swings. A figure huddled under a tree, hood up, clutching a duffel bag. Serena parked, and they crept closer, Malik's cane tapping softly. Tanya, she whispered. The figure turned. Tanya, pale and wide-eyed, her braids spilling from the hood. Dr. Hart. Thank God. I didn't know who else to call. You're safe now, Serena said, reaching for her. What happened? Tanya's voice cracked. He showed up an hour ago, banged on my door, said he'd take my son if I didn't keep quiet. I grabbed what I could and ran. Malik stepped forward, his voice steady. You're with us now. He won't touch your kid. I'll make sure of it. Tanya nodded, tears streaking her face. I didn't sign those meds, I swear. It's all a setup. We believe you, Serena said. Let's get out of... A gunshot split the air, the tree trunk splintering inches from Tanya's head. She screamed, dropping the bag, and Serena yanked her down. Stay low, Malik shouted, pulling them behind a bench. Another shot, metal pinged off the swings, sparks flying. Serena's heart raced, her eyes darting. A figure emerged from the shadows. Black hoodie, gun glinting. The same bastard from the parking lot? She couldn't tell, but he was closing in fast. Malik, your cane, she hissed. He didn't hesitate, swung it hard, cracking the guy's knee as he lunged. The shooter grunted, stumbling, and Serena tackled him, adrenaline pumping. They hit the dirt, her nails clawing his mask. He shoved her off, gun skittering away, and bolted into the dark. Son of a... Malik started, but Serena was already up, grabbing Tanya. We're leaving, now! They sprinted to the car, piling in as sirens wailed in the distance. Someone must have called it in. Serena floored it, the Toyota lurching onto the road, her hands white-knuckled on the wheel. Tanya sobbed in the back, clutching her bag, while Malik gripped the dash, blood trickling from a graze on his arm. You hit? Serena asked, voice tight. Just a scratch, he said, wincing. You? Fine. Tanya? I'm okay, she stammered. My boy, he's with my mom. I can't lose him. You won't, Malik said, turning to her. We're ending this. Serena swerved onto a side street, her mind spinning. Victor wasn't just covering tracks. He was hunting them. She pulled into an alley, cutting the lights. We can't go back to the motel. Too hot. My sister, she said suddenly. Lila's got a safe house downtown. She owes me one. Malik raised an eyebrow. Your sister? Long story, Serena muttered, dialing Lila. Pick up, damn it. Lila's voice came through, sleepy but sharp. Serena? It's 2 a.m. What now? I need your safe house, Serena said. No questions. 3 of us. Trouble on our tail. A sigh. Fine, but you're explaining this later. Peachtree Center, Unit 12B. Codes 0923. Thanks, Lila. She hung up, glancing at Malik. We've got a spot. Hold on. They peeled out, the city a blur as she wove through back roads. Peachtree Center loomed ahead, a sleek high-rise, all glass and steel. They slipped into the garage, parking in the shadows, and took the elevator up, Tanya clutching her bag like a lifeline. Unit 12B was sparse but secure. White walls, a single couch, a view of downtown's twinkling lights. Serena locked the door, sinking onto the couch. Malik sat beside her, his arm brushing hers, the graze still oozing. She grabbed a towel, pressing it to the wound. You're a mess, she said, voice cracking. He smirked, weak but real. You're one to talk. Look at you, saving my ass again. She laughed, a shaky sound, and leaned into him. I'm not losing you, Malik. Not to Victor, not to anyone. His hand found her cheek, thumb brushing her skin. Same goes for you. Tanya curled up in a corner, eyes red but calmer. Thank you, she whispered. Both of you. Serena nodded,
exhaustion crashing over her. They were safe, for now. But Victor's reach was long, and this fight was far from over. She closed her eyes, Malik's warmth beside her, and braced for the storm ahead. The safe house at Peachtree Center hummed with a tense quiet, the kind that settled over you like fog rolling off the Chattahoochee. Serena Hart stood by the window, the Atlanta skyline a jagged silhouette against the pre-dawn sky, her reflection a ghost in the glass. She'd swapped the thrift store hoodie for one of Lila's spare tees, soft cotton, too tight across her shoulders, but it beat the blood-streaked mess she'd worn fleeing the park. Her hands gripped a lukewarm coffee mug, the bitter dregs doing little to shake the exhaustion clinging to her bones. Malik Jackson sat on the couch, his cane propped nearby, a fresh bandage on his grazed arm, courtesy of her shaky first-aid skills. Tanya Brooks slept fitfully in the corner, her duffel bag clutched like a shield, soft snores breaking the silence. They'd survived the night, barely, but Serena knew it wasn't over. Victor Kane was out there, his claws deep in Jackson Tech and now in their lives. She glanced at Malik, his sharp jaw set, eyes locked on his phone as he scrolled through news alerts. "Anything?" she asked, voice low to keep from waking Tanya. He shook his head, frustration etching lines across his brow. "Same crap. Victor's press conference is trending. CEO Malik Jackson spirals under stress. Board's eating it up. Emergency meetings tomorrow. Well, today now. They're voting me out unless I show up with something solid." Serena set the mug down, crossing to him. "We've got the labs. Vecuronium, midazolam, Tanya's story. It's not enough?" "Not without proof tying it to Victor," he said, leaning back, his broad shoulders slumping. "He's slick, covered his tracks. Board'll call it circumstantial, say I faked it for sympathy. I've seen him turn on me before, quick to believe a black guy can't hack it." Her fists clenched. "That's bullshit. You built that company from nothing. They don't get to erase you." He smirked, faint, but real. "You're my hype woman now, huh?" "Damn right," she said, sitting beside him, her knee brushing his. "We're not letting him win." His hand found hers, warm and steady, and for a second the weight lifted. Just them, two people who'd stared down death and found each other in the wreckage. Then her phone buzzed, shattering the moment. "Lila." She answered, keeping her voice low. "Yeah?" "Serena, you're in deep shit," Lila snapped, her usual sass dialed to 11. "Victor Kane's on the news, hinting you're in on some scam with Jackson. Said Hart Pharma might have supplied the drugs. You dragging our name into this?" Serena's gut twisted. "He's lying, trying to scare us off. I've got proof he's the one behind it." "Then use it," Lila said. "I hacked into Hart Pharma's old server like you asked. Found an email from 2 years back. Victor ordered Vecuronium under a shell account. It's thin, but it's something. Sending it now." "You're a lifesaver," Serena said, relief flooding her. "Thanks, Lil." "Don't thank me yet," Lila shot back. "You owe me a spa day after this mess, and a damn explanation." "Deal." She hung up, turning to Malik. "Lila came through. Email from Victor to Hart Pharma, ordering the drug. It's a start." Malik's eyes lit up, a spark of hope cutting through the fatigue. "That's our shot. We take it to the board. Live, public. No hiding." She nodded, adrenaline kicking in. "Today's meeting, crash it. Show the world who Victor really is." They woke Tanya, filling her in. She rubbed her eyes, nodding. "I'll testify, whatever it takes. Just keep my kid safe." "We will," Malik promised, standing with a wince. "Let's move." They piled into the Toyota, Serena, driving through Atlanta's early bustle, delivery trucks, joggers, the hum of a city waking up. Jackson Tech's HQ loomed downtown,
a sleek tower of glass and steel. The board meeting was set for 9 a.m., streamed live to shareholders and press. Serena parked in the garage, her pulse racing as they slipped inside, Tanya's duffel slung over her shoulder. The lobby buzzed. Reporters, suits, security eyeing them warily. Malik flashed his ID, his voice firm. "I'm still CEO. Let us up." The guard hesitated, then waved them through. The elevator ride was silent, the air thick with stakes. When the doors opened to the boardroom, Victor Kane stood at the head of a long table, mid-speech, his blonde hair gleaming under the lights. "Malik's absence proves he's unfit," he was saying, his voice smooth as oil. "We need stability." "Bullshit!" Malik cut in, stepping forward, Kane tapping the floor. The room froze, board members gaping, cameras swiveling. Serena flanked him, Tanya behind, her chin up despite the fear in her eyes. Victor's smirk faltered, but he recovered fast. "Nice of you to show, Jackson. Crawling back to beg?" "No," Malik said, voice like steel. "Here to bury you." He tossed the lab printouts onto the table, vecuronium, midazolam, Tanya's initials. "Someone dosed me, tried to kill me, and you're the one with the motive." Gasps rippled through the room. Victor laughed, sharp and cold. "Delusional. You cracked, dosed yourself. Everyone knows it." "Then explain this," Serena said, stepping up. She held up her phone, Lila's email projected on the wall. Victor's name, the vecuronium order. "Hart Pharma records. You bought the drug 2 years ago. Coincidence?" Victor's face twitched, but he doubled down. "Fabricated. You're in on it, Hart. Saving him for a cut of his company. Pathetic." Rage flared in her chest, but she kept her cool. "I'm a doctor, not a crook. I was there when he flatlined. Here's the logs." She slapped hospital records down, timestamps showing her every move that night. "You want to talk pathetic? Look at you, scared of a man who outworked you." Tanya stepped forward, voice shaky but firm. "I'm Tanya Brooks, RN. My name's on those meds, but I never signed them. He," she pointed at Victor, "threatened my kid to keep me quiet." The room erupted, board members shouting, reporters scrambling. Victor's cool cracked, his eyes darting. "Lies! She's a nobody." "Then why's this nobody got your number?" Malik said, playing a voicemail Tanya had saved. Victor's voice, cold and clear. "Keep your mouth shut, or your boy's gone." The audio hit like a bomb, silence falling hard after. A board member stood, face red. "Kane, what the hell is this?" Victor sputtered. "It's doctored. You can't prove—" "We can," Serena said, holding up a USB. "Security footage from Mercy General. Shows you near the med cart that night. Cops have it now." Victor lunged for the table, but security grabbed him, pinning his arms. "You're done," Malik said, stepping close, voice low. "Game over." The room spun into chaos, Victor yelling as he was dragged out, board members barking orders, cameras flashing. Serena grabbed Malik's arm, steadying him as he swayed. "You okay?" "Yeah," he said, grinning through the pain. "Thanks to you." They slipped out as the press swarmed, finding a quiet corner by the elevators. Tanya hugged them both, tears streaming. "It's over?" "For you, yeah," Serena said. "Cops'll keep your kid safe. Go home." Tanya nodded, disappearing into the crowd. Alone now, Serena turned to Malik, her heart still racing. "We did it." He pulled her close, his cane clattering as he wrapped her in his arms. "You did it. Saved my ass. Again." She laughed, burying her face in his chest, the warmth of him chasing off the chill. Team effort. He tipped her chin up, eyes soft. That kiss, The one you thought was goodbye. I've been thinking about it since I woke up. Her breath hitched. Yeah? Yeah. He kissed her, deep, fierce, a promise sealed in the madness they'd survived. Her hands slid up his back, pulling him closer, the world fading to just them. They broke apart, foreheads pressed together, the hum of the building a distant echo. "Where do we go from here?" she asked, voice trembling with possibility. "Wherever," he said, smiling. "Long as it's with you." Hours later, they stood on her penthouse balcony, the shattered glass gone, cleaned up by a crew Lila had sent. The city sprawled below, alive and oblivious, the night air cool against their skin. Serena leaned into him, her head on his shoulder. "I kissed you to say goodbye," she whispered. "Now it's hello." He chuckled, arm tightening around her. "Best hello I've ever had." They stayed there, tangled in each other, the storm behind them, a new dawn breaking over Atlanta. Victor was gone, his empire crumbling, but they'd built something stronger. Trust, love, a second chance neither saw coming. Hey, y'all! What a ride, right? Think Serena and Malik's story ends here? Or is there more to come? Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Tell me what this crazy journey left you feeling.